Greetings to everyone world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are. We hope you are taking care of yourself. You are moving up in the ladder after the post pandemic period. We are recovering, we are reviving, we are rejuvenating, we are repackaging, we are refurbishing, and everything is moving up in the ladder in all directions. And of course, tourism will take its own time because it was the first bird to be hit. And same thing goes for its associated and related areas in service industry. Particularly, directly linked, closely linked is your hospitality, airlines, and a couple of other industries in this services segment. But during the pandemic, we saw a great flip and a very, quantum jump which was taken by the technology and particularly in the service industry because medical services, education services, wellness services, food delivery services, whatever you can think of and you can talk about, services sector played very important role and people started realizing the importance and the futurology as far as the service industry is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, today we want to take you just before the pandemic. Our chamber had submitted a couple of documents at that point of time to Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, and things were moving up in the ladder that how MSME services sector should become equally important as manufacturing sectors with regard to incentives, with regard to recognition, with regards to whatsoever handholding and privileges being provided to manufacturing sector by banks and the financial institutions and other stakeholders, those are there. Today, we will just give you the curtain raiser and we will be sharing in depth with you in the next month on the World MSME Day. We'll have a full-fledged, full-day program totally focusing on service industry. So let's get back to the system and we discuss over here what all has happened in service industry as far as MSME part is concerned, what is its future, what is its present, and of course, from 2006 onwards, as the MSME was made a separate ministry from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, and how things have shaped up and how things have moved up, we'll talk about that as well. So let's focus on some of the areas. Of course, the 12 champion sectors identified by Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, out of the services segments, that also one of these days we will take on separately with you. So hearty welcome to each one of you and pleasure. You always join us on the journey. And today we're getting deep down into what exactly is the concept when we talk about MSME service industry. What is the component and what is the importance and what is the future as far as services segment is concerned? On behalf of Chamber for Service Industry, we extend you a very warm welcome to the different time zone, people joining us from the different countries. And I'm so grateful to all of you, those join us regularly because you're so passionate about knowing what latest is happening. And at the same time, we would like the message to go deeper and to more and more people so that people understand the tertiary sector, the services sector, the components of services sector, and when world over it is being recognized that MSME is the backbone of the operations, and particularly the development where you have the micro, small, and the medium enterprise. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what exactly could be the need of the hour when we talk about service industry, whether we are in education, school level, college level, ITIs, polytechnic, universities, private, government, deemed, whatever you talk about, or maybe you're running a coaching center or you're running a small outlet, you want to be self-employed, you want to be startup, you want to take initiative and you want to be a proprietor or whatever, or maybe a LLP company. Now let's move the most important thing in the NEP 2020 also, the New Education Policy 2020, which was given on 29th of July to nation. It has got a lot of new components, but it has been recognized, appreciated, and put onto the platter that skills are more important than just getting the academic paper called degree. But of course, degree is the psyche. People always look forward to that. Our child should be degree holder, not a diploma holder. Well, that myth will also get away after some time. But presently, let's recognize that with your formal education, what exactly is more important? The journey which we take up in education with your academics, you take on the formal, let's take it, your hobbies are there, your passion is there. But how do we upscale your passion and your hobbies? So there is something which you enjoy very well and you don't get tired. If somebody tells me whether it's an online program or offline program or a hybrid program, it's a day long program, 10 hours if I have to speak, I can communicate. हिंदी में भी बात कर सकता हूँ, पंजाबी में भी बात कर सकता हूँ, थोड़ा थोड़ा रशियन में भी बात कर सकता हूँ, थोड़ा थोड़ा जापानीज में भी बात कर सकता हूँ. एंड ऑफ कोर्स जो लैंग्वेज है जिससे लोगों को रोजगार के साथ थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा पैसा मिल जाता है, सैलरी मिल जाती है, इंसेंटिव मिल जाता है, अंग्रेजी भाषा में भी आपसे बातचीत कर सकता हूँ. एंड आई प्रूव इट वन ऑफ दीज डेज. पीपल दोज आर हेजिटेंट टू स्पीक, क्योंकि सबको साथ लेकर चलना है हमको. So your skills, your competencies, your talent, your passion, and everything moving towards your profession is very important, ladies and gentlemen. So our chamber way back 1994 set up India's first finishing school, and that basically taking care of service industry. And under that, हिंदी के आजकल हर जगह बहुत ज्यादा यूसेज होता है. आप नीति आयोग की बात करते हैं, प्रथम बात करते हैं, स्पर्श बात करते हैं, आप प्रसाद स्कीम की बात करते हैं टूरिज्म में, देखो अपना देश की बातचीत करते हैं. तो हमने भी ये सोचा कि फिनिशिंग स्कूल में कहीं ना कहीं हिंदी को भी साथ लेकर जाया जाए, ताकि बच्चों को ये महसूस हो कि जो चीज दिल को छूती है, दिल के आर पार होती है. पहले पुराने जमाने में जिगर का बात हुआ करती थी, लेकिन आजकल दिल की बात है. दिल से दिल मिल जाए, दिल से दिल की बात करो. दिल को लेकर बहुत सारी फिल्मों का भी विकास हुआ. वी ऑलवेज टॉक अबाउट दिल माने ना, दिल दे के देखो, दिल दिया दर्द लिया, दिल ने फिर याद किया, एंड दिल लगी, लाइक दैट देयर आर बहुत सारी, दिल वाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे, एंड ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ फिल्म्स. व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट दिल प्लेज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल in our finishing school also. Dil plays a very important role. We talk about digital inspirational lab. That means how to make education and skills relevant for everybody world over. That is the challenge. Institutions, whether at school level, whether at college level, whether at university level, anywhere in the private sector, government sector, wherever you are, how do you make education really relevant? And that would be dependent on the skills. That would be dependent on what kind of a skills you are imparting. You're giving it to children so that they become employable and they can take up some kind of a venture right from the day one. When you look into that, ladies and gentlemen, let me share a couple of things and have this beautiful journey for all of us together when we are moving on MSME service industry. मैं एमएसएमई सर्विस इंडस्ट्री की बातचीत करूंगा. और देखिए, इकोनॉमी के हमारे तीन हिस्से हैं. जब भारत की जीडीपी की बातचीत करते हैं तो हमारे तीन हिस्से हैं: एग्रीकल्चर, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, एंड ऑफ कोर्स जिसको आप टर्शियरी सेक्टर बोलते हैं, वो सर्विसेज सेक्टर है. ऑल दीज थ्री सेक्टर्स दे प्ले वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. एग्रीकल्चर को भी सर्विसेज की जरूरत है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को भी सर्विसेज की जरूरत है, और टर्शियरी सेक्टर सर्विसेज सेक्टर तो है ही सर्विसेज सेक्टर. There are a couple of components we'll talk about. अब what could be the constituent sectors of service industry? ये स्लाइड आपने कभी नहीं देखी होगी. ये इतनी बारीक, इतनी छोटी है. And for me, I don't have the energy to rewrite, but certainly one of these days, with my team, I'll work out that we should work out. अब आप देखिए, मेन components मैं आपके साथ शेयर करता हूँ. What could be the constituents of the service industry? You've got airline industry, you've got travel and tourism industry, you've got hospitality industry, you've got health, wellness, spa, medical tourism industry, medical travel part is there, media entertainment, your radio, television, theater, music, films, animation, AGVC, whatever you talk about. Then come leisure. Leisure could be any time. It could be a holiday. It could be a business leisure. It could be a travel. It could be a pleasure, whatever you are undertaking. Retail business. You've got a big shopping malls. You have got retail shops, chains. You've got departmental stores. You have got, couple of warehouses. You have got supermarket, hypermarket. You have got multi layers as far as multi complexes and eating joints and all that, that we are putting under the retail part. Then you have got sales, marketing, public relation, advertising, and MICE industry is coming in a very big way. When you talk about meetings, incentives, conferences, exhibition, ladies and gentlemen, this is an upcoming area. Anybody who is keen about service industry, and if you're really, really good at communication skills or networking or PR skills, or you enjoy events, you're a people person, you want people to people contact, because in MICE industry, it's a million, it's a togetherness, heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind, product to product, people to people. So MICE industry is coming in a very big way, and India got to take a slice of that, and we got to increase the size of it. And our chamber is working very hard. We have done 2 sessions with you earlier on the MICE industry. We'll have a couple of more sessions in the coming times. I'm trying to get some experts, so that you get the industry insight. And at the same time, you got to adopt the technology the best possible way. And then comes financial services. Now, financial services, always I heard, and all the time I learned from my son, is a mergers and acquisition. But of course, I have seen the banks, I've seen financial institutions, and of course, there is a insurance companies, there's a stock exchange, there's a foreign exchange, there's a investment services, and there is a whole range of financial advisor services, which can be given the advisory to a lot of people. Now let's come on to IT and IT enabled services, ITES. Very important for all of us, because more than 50% services exports from India is exclusively from IT and ITS. This sector plays very important role, ladies and gentlemen, and world over, India and Indians are appreciated, recognized, encouraged because of this particular segment. And the technology what we are adopting today, we are so very happy that some of our boys and girls, our friends, they are playing very important role at the national and international level. They are doing extremely, extremely well. And I will always pray and I request and pray to the Almighty that the younger generation today should take a lead. They should further put their foot forward. And each one of you, all young boys and girls, because India has got demographic dividend, we have an advantage. And this is the prime time for us, because I remember my mentor, Professor Jagdish Shetty, he has written a book, and in that he says 19th century belonged to Europe, 20th century belonged to America, 21st century, he stops there and he says it is halfway through, up to 2150, it belongs to Asia, and thereafter it will move to Africa. That's what is his book, and it's a wonderful reading when I have gone through. Okay, the BPO market, KPO market, LPO market, telecommunication and communication services, housing, infrastructure related services, real estate, construction services, and transportation services. Oh my God, what a boom is coming up in our country. Railway, airlines, roadways, and cruise liners, public transport, private transport, water transport, air taxis, and of course, for the medical purposes also, you've got lots of transportation services. The evacuation can take place. And now the drones have also come. And once again, you can look into it. They're playing very important role in almost all sectors, all segments of the economy. Then comes the office administration services. How basically the records to be managed, how basically I always learn ERP to be managed very well, management consultancy services, facility services, secretariat services, all those kind of services are there. Then comes the distribution services, your logistics services, your basically, the commission agents are there, and your other kind of a services which can be given. There could be a wholesale, there could be a traders. So the distribution part, when you talk about, there could be a retailing services, there could be a franchise services, All that is there. Then I was telling that agriculture and manufacturing. Again, in agriculture part also, services sector plays very important role. Let's talk about agriculture. There is a agro distribution services. And when I'm talking about warehouses, the cold storage and all that, that again is a part of combination of agriculture and services together. Then you have got agro-based research, you have got rural marketing, you have got rural IT and IT-enabled services. You remember ITC, e-Chopal, and then there is a rural banking, there's a rural insurance, and there are so many other services. And then at the same time, you have got rural tourism coming up in a very big way. And I still recall G. Kishan Reddy ji in the first meeting of the G20 in Run of Kutch. He gave the total importance to rural tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, people are no more interested to stay in the major mega cities. They want to get to rural areas, interior, in isolation, where they can enjoy something altogether different, which nature has gifted. From agriculture, let me move to the manufacturing services. Now, in manufacturing sector also, after the sale, services are there, insurance services are there, research and development is there, there's a transportation once again, and you've got the warehouses services, which is being basically to park all those transportation works. Then B2B marketing services, outsourcing services, couple of services are there. There could be a small ventures also. If I think of the florist who's sitting on, just on the road pavement, and from there he's selling flowers, but the way he's packaging, the way he or she talks, the way have etiquettes and manners, and the way they have got a body language, and they make the buyer or the customer feel that amaze the customer. I can tell you in services, the human touch and the human angle is very, very important. Then at the same time, you've got social services, you've got old age homes, you've got dry cleaning services, you've got utility services, you've got electricity, water supply, gas, other appliances which are there for the repairing and manufacturing. There are many more segments of service industry. If you look into, I can vouch for it, you must have not heard so many segments. And of course, there is education and counseling and research services also. In education, there could be training. It could be online, it could be offline, it could be hybrid. And at the same time, headhunting, HR people, you play very important role because HR and consultancy plays very important role for us. You got to understand. And particularly now, if you're really serious to do a good job, after the coaching and after you have done the research and development and hand holding, you got to see that the people get employed in the right companies at the right places. Then thereafter, you got to give the hand holding services for some time so that you understand people stay in those companies and those organizations for some time is very important. Now, Golden Triangle, in old times, we used to call Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. Now you have to talk about education, skills, and MSME. That is the way we have to bring the combination. Our chamber had drawn the action plan, Shiksha, Kaushalta, and Udmita. And Honorable Prime Minister, when he tells Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think first and foremost thing is we got to empower our teachers, their capacity building programs for hand holding, where their personal and professional growth both have to be taken care of. All these days, during the pandemic and post-pandemic, one of the things which I have realized for the youth particularly, and that goes for educational institutions also, and to the parents also, we all got to realize that human mental wellness is very important. Your physical wellness, of course, it is important, but at the same time, you got to understand if you're mentally not strong, you will have lots of difficulties. Challenges will come, difficulties will come, problems will come. सब कुछ हर वक्त वैसा नहीं होगा जैसा आप चाहते हैं, लेकिन आप समय की दिशा को और दशा को दोनों को बदल सकते हैं अपने प्रयास से, अपने हार्डवर्क से, अपने कांस्टेंट फाइट से एंड अपने डेडिकेशन से and you got to see the daylight. I still remember before the pandemic, almost for 3 to 4 years, I used to go in the corridors of Ministry of MSME. Secretary Saab was sitting in the Udyog Bhavan. He used to be sharing the first floor and the ground floor with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in Udyog Bhavan. And whereas our additional secretary, he was sixth or seventh floor, I still recall, that is in the adjacent building, Nirman Vihar. I can't recall how many times I must have gone to these places and giving the presentations that why services sector is important and why the service industry should be brought at par, particularly when we think about MSME. Right from 2006 onward, when the separate ministry was made, we had been talking about, we have been seeing it, but at the same time, we always felt there is a more to be done as far as MSME services segment is concerned. We lost a lot of friends during the pandemic. I still recall one of the joint secretary who was dealing with the entire, the proposal and the roadmaps and everything. We lost him during the pandemic from Ministry of MSME. Our deep condolences to the departed soul, but at the same time, life moves on. I got in touch with the former secretary, Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise, and he says it was very encouraging to see the roadmap on tourism, hospitality, media entertainment, pharma, automobile sector, textile, and all the related industries of the services sector, which Chamber for Service Industry had brought basically that point of time to Ministry of MSME. And same thing goes with Ram Mohan Mishra ji, who was the additional secretary and the development commissioner, presently advisor to the government of Meghalaya. And this particular roadmap, which we submitted to the government and the strategy papers which we gave, I'm so grateful to Honorable Finance Minister of India that during the thick of the pandemic, can you imagine that 25th of March 2020, complete lockdown in India. And at that point of time, somewhere, Prime Minister made announcement on 11th of May 2020 of Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, and Honorable Finance Minister on 13th of May 2020, she made a historic announcement, and that gave lots of oxygen to us. That was basically, you got to understand कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और सर्विसेज में कोई गैप नहीं, कोई डिफरेंस नहीं, सर्विसेज सेक्टर की हैंड होल्डिंग भी उसी तरीके से की जाएगी जैसे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की जाती है हर स्टेज पे हर स्टेक होल्डर्स के द्वारा. That was the announcement on 13th of May 2020. Or ladies and gentlemen, practically when you go on the ground, such a powerful initiative being taken by the government of India and minister, the Honorable Minister of the Finance, making such a historic announcement, the services sector. During the pandemic, of course, as I told you, tourism, hospitality, related industries, they all suffered. But post-pandemic times also, when I look at it, and you go to the banker, you go to the financial institution, and you tell them, you need a hand-holding because you want to do something in services. The first thing they say, आपका प्लांट कहाँ लगेगा, आपकी मशीनरी कहाँ लगेगी. अरे भाई, सर्विसेज सेक्टर में it's a human factor, it's a consultancy, it's a human beings, it's a people to people. It is not that machine जिसका 75% आप दे रहे हैं, that has to be installed and then only the cycle will bank with start. I think somewhere we have to make a humble request to all the stakeholders, those are directly or indirectly dealing with service industry in manufacturing, and along with the manufacturing in MSME sector, you got to understand, जब Ministry of MSME ने services sector को at par with manufacturing sector दिया है, so I think somewhere the banking and financial institution also has to take MSMEs at par with other manufacturing sector as far as the units have to be concerned. Look at this. जब मैडम ने रिवाइज डेफिनेशन 2020 में मई में बाकायदा टेलीविजन के ऊपर दी और रिवाइज्ड एमएसएमई की डेफिनेशन दी, और रीस्ट्रक्चर किया कि माइक्रो क्या है, स्मॉल क्या है, मीडियम प्राइस क्या है, और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और सर्विसेज ये दोनों पर लागू होता है। और ये हर एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो किसी भी तरीके से इंसेंटिव देती है और हैंड होल्डिंग करती है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और सर्विसेज का, everybody should give hand holding to the equal part. After today's webinar, and I personally feel that bankers would also somewhere realize कि अगर कोई सीरियसली काम कर रहा है, अच्छे से काम कर रहा है, पूरी शिद्दत से काम कर रहा है, तो उन लोगों की हैंड होल्डिंग बैंक और फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस को जरूर करनी चाहिए। When I meet in travel trade, lot of my friends, I come to know वो कुछ शुरू करना चाहते हैं। बैंक कहता है कि पहले आप मशीनरी तो दिखाइए, पहले आप प्लांट तो दिखाइए। अरे मशीनरी और प्लांट की वहां पर जरूरत नहीं है जहां सर्विसेज में ह्यूमन फैक्टर ने अपनी खुद की सर्विसेज देनी है, चाहे वो कंसल्टेंसी की सर्विसेज है। I still recall when I used to go to NSIC, and the former chairman and the managing director, Rabindranath ji, for the National and Small Scale Industries Corporation, ओखला इंडस्ट्रियल स्टेट के अंदर इन्होंने इतने हिस्टोरिक इनिशिएटिव लिए हुए थे, इतना कुछ डायनेमिक किया हुआ था। एंड ऑल द टाइम्स whenever we had gone to ministry, and ministry used to tell us, NSIC में जाके एक बार विजिट करके आप जरा रविंद्रनाथ जी से मिलिए और उन्हें भी बताइए कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं, कैसे है। आई एम टेलिंग यू लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, post his retirement we requested him, and he is like a civilian soldier, came forward and he told us, Dr. Sharma, whatever is needed in the chamber for service industry in the strategy form, because he says next to my heart is MSME, and I want to push MSME the best possible way, because ये रीढ़ की हड्डी है। It is the backbone of any economy, any country, any people, anywhere world over। अगर कोई country successful हुई है, I don't want to name certain countries right over here, because competitors are competitors whosoever they are। अगर भारत को आगे बढ़ना है, किसी ने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में बहुत सारी उड़ान भर ली है। India has got human resource, India has got people, India has got skilled people, India has got qualified people, India has got technology, India has got IT enabled services. Why not to go with the human factor and understand the potential of humanity and take the entire thing forward? So what is needed is, first of all, we have to bring awareness across India to everybody कि सर्विस इंडस्ट्री भाई आर्मी नेवी एयरफोर्स ही नहीं है। आईएएस, आईपीएस, आईआरएस, आईईएस सिर्फ यही सर्विसेज नहीं है, इनके अलावा भी सर्विसेज हैं। People do not know. That was one of the agenda we had taken up, but unfortunately the COVID had come. Post-COVID, a lot of other challenges had come up in the economy, so it could not get that. I think first and foremost thing which MSME has to do is, at national level, pan India, there got to be awareness of the service industry कि service industry है क्या, इसको बहुत अच्छे से आगे लेकर जाया जा सकता है। Our chamber has got strategy, we have got areas where how it is to be done. We are again discussing with the ministry, we have taken up, we're getting in touch with them. We have got to bring at the same time new MSMEs in the folder and new stakeholders। बहुत सारे लोग हैं पोस्ट पैंडेमिक जो अपना काम शुरू करना चाहते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ अपना बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन उन्हें कहीं ना कहीं होल्ड कर दिया जाता है। होल्ड उनको कहते हैं थोड़ा थम जाइए, बिकॉज दे हैव गॉट सम चैलेंजेस, दे डोंट गो टू फिनाले। जैसे हम कहते हैं कि 59 मिनट्स में लोन ले जाइए, ये ले जाइए, वो ले जाइए। आई पर्सनली फील इट हैज टू बिकम realistic in the real terms. So we will get in touch with SIRBI also. We have got in touch with some bankers of the government and private sectors also. But I personally feel somewhere some awareness and some initiative has to be taken at the ministry level, at policy level, where everybody, all the stakeholders, those are doing handholding, should be brought together, and they should be given an opportunity to understand कि सर्विसेज सेक्टर में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर की तरह प्लांट नहीं होता है। वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, because it could be a tourism services, it could be hospitality services, it could be entertainment services, it could be beauty parlor, wellness services, it could be rural tourism, farm tourism, ecotourism, nature tourism, herbal plantation, it could be herbal and wellness tourism। There are so many areas which can be taken care of. I personally feel the need of the hour is lot is to be done as far as service industry is concerned. So we have increased the wavelength. We have started the process. आज हमने सर्विस इंडस्ट्री का पहले हम छुटपुट सेमिनार्स करते रहे हैं, बट अब हम लगातार आपके लिए पूरा एक मोमेंटम बना रहे हैं और सर्विसेज सेक्टर के जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, we are bringing them together on a common platform. And ladies and gentlemen, you should know that world over, 27th June, which happens to be this year on Thursday, there is going to be an International MSME Day. And our chamber has decided the whole day on online, offline, hybrid, whatever is there, we are going to go pan India and we are going to bring everybody closer together for the common cause, because the focus what we are taking is with the theme of the United Nations innovation waves, and they are basically sailing MSMEs to success. And our focus is going to be service industry. We will have lots of deliberations, celebrations, recommendations, honors, awards, recognition. Everybody who is in a service industry, we extend a warm invitation to all of them. We would bring a lot of programs for you in the near future. We will talk about each segment of service industry. We will talk about all stakeholders of service industry, people those are taking initiative in service industry. And don't forget that every Sunday we talk about India tourism this week. So this Sunday, 9 o'clock, you will have everything 9 p.m. coming on to, because tourism also is a part of the SME sector. That's why I'm talking about tourism over here. But day after tomorrow, another area which we are taking out, tomorrow something else. So each day we will have something new for you. All of us, we got to move together, because service industry, services sector is playing very important role, MSME sector world over. And why not? India should be proud of it. India should take further initiative, and everything should be done in a practical way, pragmatic way, and it should be done where there's a hand holding by all of us. You understand the term blockchain? It is something like that. Everybody talks about artificial intelligence. Now we should talk about blockchain also. Chain means सारी कड़ियां, हर कड़ी को जुड़ना है और इतने अच्छे से जुड़ना है, कोई वीक लिंक नहीं होना चाहिए किसी स्टेज पे, किसी को कोई तरीके की मदद चाहिए हो, everybody should come forward. We will take initiative with the ministry, with all the stakeholders, with all associations. We are reaching out to everybody. Travel trade also, hospitality also, airlines also, retail also, educational institutions also, skill developers also. We are trying health sector, wellness sector. Everybody we are trying to bring together, and whatever is their requirement and whatever is the need are, at the same time sharing what all is happening in India in near future in MSME sector. Be a part of our journey, and let's take a pledge that MSME service industry is going to be moving ahead. It's not my target. Honorable Prime Minister has set target for India's economy, and Piyush Goyal ji, as a the Minister for Commerce and Industry, has set 1 trillion target export of services. We should also set our target, because nobody should be left behind. Everybody should hand holding, and we should move forward with MSME service industry. Look forward tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. with yet another powerful episode. And Chamber is proud of all of you, those join. Look forward having you once again with us. खुश रहिए, मुस्कुराते रहिए, तंदुरुस्त रहिए, चुस्त रहिए और खूब काम कीजिए. जितना इस शरीर से काम करवा सकते हैं उतना ही अच्छा है हम सबके लिए. With these words, thank you very much. जय हिंद, नमस्कार.